Hello and welcome to another episode of Personal Finance. Today we are trying to change the scenery and approach because this one is a technical topic. It's a topic on personal finance. How do you manage people? Sorry, how do you manage your money or your finances as the way 1% of the population does? Now, managing money is one of the key factors of personal finance. If you can't manage your money well, like the small 1% of the population, you won't do much with your money. So, today I introduced to you money allocation framework. To be honest, I haven't seen this one anywhere on the internet. It's nowhere. Check it around and you won't find it. So it's something that has worked for me, and over time I've refined it to make it better and better. So it's a money allocation framework that enables you to allocate your money according to your needs, and it prioritizes savings and investments. So let's jump on right in. So I'll share the framework, and then at the end of the day, I'll share other frameworks that people are using and advise you on what you can probably adopt depending with what you are doing and where you are in terms of your financial uh, journey. Otherwise, I hope you am visible because I'm standing at an angle. I hope I'm visible. So let's jump on right in. So this method, this framework is 55, 25, 10, 10%. And the first one, you are allocating 55% of your income to fundamentals and expenses. Now, this is not cast on stone. There are people who allocate 75% or to expenses and still works for them. But understand that if you allocate 75, then you'll have to reduce the savings. You'll also have to reduce some other allocations that must be included in your funds allocation. So the 55% goes to the basic expenses, the fundamentals expenses in your household, and this includes things like food, rent, transport, loan repayment, mortgage, and all those other utilities that are necessary in your household. Now, why why is the 55% essential? Why do I personally allocate 55 and why do I advocate for 55? It's because when you have a limited budget, it enables you to optimize your spending. You won't spend more money because you know that you only have an allocation of 55%. They always say that your budget will expand or contract to fit in with the money that you have. If you have a small amount allocated for budgeting, your budget will fit that. Similarly, if you have a large amount allocated for budgeting will fit just right there. So the amount of money that you use for budgeting will expand or contract depending on how much money you have. So when you squeeze yourself to 55%, it will surely fit to the budget that you want to use. Reason number two, it helps you to optimize and seek value. As I mentioned earlier, you don't have any other allocation. You only have the 55%. So whenever you go to buy something, when you're looking for a house, for example, to rent, when you're buying food essentials, when you're paying for those utility bills, you know at the back of your mind that you only have the 55%. So you at all time be seeking value in each and everything that you purchase or on each bill that you pay. The last reason why that's essential is that you avoid lifestyle inflation or lifestyle creep. This is a phenomena where your life expenses are always ballooning or expanding depending on how much money you earn. They expand to fit in with with the money with your current income. Will now quickly to the benefits of the 55%. It Reason number one, it helps develop a value minded mindset. Over time you will learn that you always need to buy things that gives you value. You'll always need to purchase things that enables you to get a lot of value. Reason number two, it allows room for financial growth while still covering the essential needs. Financial growth, why? Because you have already allocated 25% for savings and investing, you have allocated 10% for personal development, and we have got another 10% which acts as a cushion fund or the emergency fund. So you are taking care of the basics, You are taking care of all other needs, but at the same time, you are also it's giving you an opportunity to grow financially. Let's go to the second allocation, 25%. Now, this value can go up or down depending with basically this value. So you can still take this value to 50 and take this value to 30, and that will give you a very good saving and investment boost. So this allocation is basically for wealth acceleration. You use savings for tomorrow and wealth creation and acceleration for days that come thereafter. So why? The rich, the 1%, they know that money has to work for them. To the rich, to the 1%, they don't trade time for money. You won't find them working the whole day to get money. Instead, they put their money somewhere. This can be savings, in stocks, in bonds, so that money works for them. By doing so, they leverage their time. Reason number two, the 25% ensures faster paths to financial freedom. There are people who only invest 5%, others 10%. But you can imagine if you can allocate to 25%, it will enable you to grow at a very fast rate. Now, to be on the safe side, break this 25% into something like 20% for investment and 5% for saving, or 10% for saving and then 15% for investment, so that you have a clear objective that you are investing 10% out of this 25 and then you are saving the rest, or you are investing 15 and you are saving the 10%. Now, where do you save this money? For the saving or investing. Now we'll start with the saving. Now, why do you save? You save because tomorrow you might be unwell and you will need money to run a few errands. So where do you save this money? You will need this money to be liquidity. You need this money to be in liquid form. So you save it either in SACCOs, and I have some examples of high interest savings. Stima SACCO, Mwalimu SACCO, there are others. Those ones I'm just mentioning them for purposes of this video. You can also save that money in fixed deposit accounts. There are bank accounts that have got the fixed deposit accounts, Equity Bank, Barclays Bank, Cooperative Bank, they have got those, and you can save the money for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, but that money can also be accessed. Even though it's not as liquid as this in circles, as not as liquid as money market funds, the next point, but that money is there and can be accessed. Then the last point where you can save this money is in money market funds. This is advocated for because of the greater liquidity. I did a video on how to save in Etika Money Market Fund. I'll attach here on the top right here. You will have a look at it. So you can save money in any of those three options. Don't put this money in a fixed savings or investment scheme, like maybe the bonds that might take 2 years or 3 years to mature, because we shall save once we reach here. Now, we have already saved. Now we want to invest. Where do we invest this money? You can invest it in stocks and bonds. I think I've done a video on the same. I'll also attach it here. You can save in real estate. There's what we call REITs, Real Estate Investment Trust, REITs. You can also start a business, a lucrative business that will, after some time, be able to give you returns on your investment. The third allocation, we are allocating 10% for what? Personal development and fun. I did that purposefully so that as you're working, you're also developing yourself. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. So it's also important that as you're working to cover the fundamental expenses, as you're working to save and invest, it's also important that you develop personally, and at some point you also have fun. Let's get going. Now, I divided this 10% into 5% for personal development and fulfillment, and I also allocated 5% for fun or experience. Now, quickly to the first 5% for personal development. Where are you allocating this money? You can buy courses online on platforms like Udemy, Coursera. There are so many platforms that have courses that you can take for personal development. You can as well use this money for networking purposes. You can use this money to purchase books and learning resources. You can use this money to upgrade your skills. If you are employed or if you are in business, you can upskill, or similarly you can reskill. Now, this is important because normally when you don't do that, at some point you'll be feeling a pinch. When you take money to buy a course, when you take money to buy a book, or when you take some money to for networking purposes, to travel and for networking purposes, you'll always feel that uh, pinch and a bit of struggling. So instead of doing that, allocate that particular money for that purpose, and you'll be in good hands. The other 5%, I purposely put it here for fun and experience. And what kind of fun? A fun that enables you to grow. You can travel. You can actualize your hobbies. Similarly, you can have social experiences. Once in a while, you might take a friend out to lunch for purposes of development, for purposes of learning a new experience, or purposes of networking. So that particular money goes there. Now, this might fail to be. You might not be using this on monthly basis every month. So on a month where you have not used this money, feel free to channel it back to savings or investment, or still you can put it to personal development, or still you can put it to emergency fund, the last allocation slot. So now that we're done with these three, let's quickly look at the last allocation. The last allocation. And guys, my handwriting, I'm not so good in handwriting, so I hope you'll bear with me as time goes by. I know I'll perfect that. So quickly to the last one. And here we have the cushion fund, either the cushion fund or the emergency fund, and we are allocating 10%. Why is this money necessary? Look at this scenario. You are driving and suddenly your car gets an accident, and you are required to either buy a tire, or you are required to paint your car, you are required to do something that is not taken care of by the first three allocation, or you suddenly fall sick and you don't have a medical cover, or your child falls sick and they don't have a medical cover, or your parent falls sick and you don't have cover. Why? This is why this is very necessary. And the rich and the 1% have known this, because if you don't allocate this 10%, you will be forced to go back to your savings and investing investment slot, and when you have an emergency, and take money from there to come and take care of this particular emergency when it comes up. So why is it necessary? A dedicated cushion fund ensures that you never touch your investments during the financial shocks. Life is very unpredictable. You'll always have these financial shocks. So if you don't allocate money for them, a dedicated amount of money, when trouble strikes, when emergency strikes, you will be forced to go back to your savings or your investments and take that particular money, and this will destabilize your rates of saving or your rate of investing. Reason number two, that it creates a mental peace of mind and financial resilience. If you always know that there's some money that has got your back, that should should you come across an emergency in your house, or at any other point, you have a peace of mind that you'll not struggle. Now, why do I keep saying that you struggle? Because if you have an emergency that you must take care of and you don't have that money, you have got very limited options. The first option being, you might be forced to go and borrow money from people who give money at a very high interest rate. You guys know that. Or you might be forced to sell a high value asset so that you fund that particular emergency. This is why when it's not raining, it's very important for you to save that money, so that when it starts raining, you will know that there is somewhere that you can run to and have that particular money, so that your problem is sorted out. Now, because this money is, it's an emergency fund, is you need it in liquid form. Liquidity is one feature that you have to prioritize when you're saving this money. Where do you save this money? You can save it in mobile savings, which of course requires a lot of discipline. Then you can save it in SACCOs, emergency accounts. You can as well save it in bank accounts that you can access, but you cannot easily access it. And my point is, when you're saving it in bank account, for example, in banks, do not have a mobile access to that particular bank, so that anytime you can access that money. As much as this money should be accessed, it should not be accessed very easily. So if it's put in a bank or even in a SACCO emergency account, let it not be easily accessible, for example, through mobile banking. And even this one, the one that's on mobile saving, put some friction on how or to enable it to be hard for you to access that particular money. Now, this framework 55 25 10 10, why does this framework work? Why do I advocate for it? And as I've said, personally, I've used it, and it's one of the framework that will enable you to grow at very fast. Number one, it encourages smart spending while ensuring a comfortable lifestyle. You are spending smartly, and at the same time, you are not exhausted. Your lifestyle is not stretched. Reason number two, it focuses on high growth investment opportunities. Remember, we allocated 25%. So as much as you are taking care of the essentials in your household, you are taking care of all other utilities. You also have a high growth investment opportunity. Remember, we allocated 25%. Reason number three, it keeps enjoyment in check while prioritizing self-improvement and wealth building. The people who don't have a cap on how much they spend on enjoyment, they'll get a salary on a Friday, then they'll go out on a Saturday and spend 80% of it, then come back and start struggling on Monday. So this framework will enable you to keep enjoyment on check, knowing that you only have a 5% allocation that you'll have to use for enjoyment. The last reason why this one works, that it builds a strong financial cushion to handle emergencies without touching your investment. I mentioned that when I was talking about the 10% cushion fund. So you'll be able to grow. You'll be able to grow financially. You'll be able to save. You'll be able to invest. But at the same time, taking care of the emergencies should you come across them. Now, this framework requires discipline, requires dedication, and requires commitment. Should you need more help to go through it, I'll leave a link in the description. Get in touch, and then and of course we can see how to help you start and implement this particular framework for your personal growth and for your financial literacy purposes. Now, there are other frameworks out there. If you search, like for example, 75 10 15, they are out there. 75 for essentials, 10 for savings, and 15 for cushion fund. It lacks something, it lacks investment. Also, if you look at 65 15 and 20, it's also the same like this one, but it lacks something. It lacks the personal development fund. There's also another one, 50 25 25%. This is a good one. It's very good framework for savings and investment, but it still lacks something for personal development. So there you have it, guys. This is one of the best frameworks that you will find. Through I developed it through testing very many different frameworks, and it works for me. It can also work for you. And that is it for this video. I'll see you in my next video. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and I'll see you in my next video.